Alright, so I want to do a video on seed starting and just show you the way I do it and share with you some of the things I know and some of the things I know that I don't do and some of the things I know that I do. But it's pretty simple and straightforward. There's really a couple basic things you need. You just need some type of tray, something to start your seeds in. You know, you can get a tray like this. I like this type of tray. It's a little more expensive, but they last a long time, and they have these soft bottoms, so they're easy to pop out once you're ready to transplant your seeds or your seedlings. And but you can get the cheap plastic trays. If you don't have trays, you can just use plastic cups or styrofoam cups or old containers you have laying around the house. The biggest thing you want is it to be able to drain, so if they don't have holes in the bottom, you know, if you're going to use a plastic cup or something, put some holes in the bottom and set it on something so it doesn't drip everywhere. But it doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then you need some soil. So this is some soil I made. It's just 1 part sand, 1 part peat moss, and 1 part perlite. I'm actually experimenting with this soil this year to see how things do. You can buy a seed starting mix from Home Depot or the big box stores. It's like $10 a bag. It's mainly just peat moss, and or you can use any soil. You can use soil out in your yard. The biggest thing is you want it to be able to drain. You don't want it to be too clay-like or hard, so you want it loose and drainable. But don't get caught up on the type of soil you have if you don't want to spend any money or you're on a limited budget. Just use any old soil. And then you get your seeds. So I'm going to plant cilantro and some leeks. And, you know, usually on the seed packet, it'll tell you everything you need to know, or you could Google it. But for instance, the cilantro here, it tells you germination is 7 to 10 days at 65 to 70 degrees. It tells you how deep to bury them and all that. I don't prescribe to this necessarily. I usually just put them down and throw a little bit of dirt on top, and everything does pretty good. The only thing that you have to watch out for is the temperature. Most vegetables and things will do fine at normal room temperature, but when you get into your peppers and some more sensitive vegetables and things that like higher temperatures, they'll still germinate at room temperature, but they'll just take longer. They won't be quite as strong. So like, you know, peppers, for instance, like it more around 80 degrees. And so if you really wanted to be precise, you can get yourself a little heat mat from like Amazon, 10 or 15 bucks. I did all my vegetables, peppers, onions, tomatoes, all my herbs, a bunch of different things at room temperature. They all did fine. I didn't have a heat mat, so you don't have to have that. So that's it, and then all you do is you take your soil, and I usually moisten it before I put it in the tray. It helps out with if you try to moisten it after you put it in the tray. Sometimes it has a tough time absorbing water. If you get the seed starting mix from Home Depot, you really want to soak that for 10-15 minutes because it tends to float to the top. Otherwise, you'll just be washing your seeds out as you try to water them in. So soak your soil first. I'm just going to fill up my tray here. So I grab a handful of this, put it in my tray. And there's a lot of videos out there, right ways and wrong ways to do it. You can get really technical. But, if you're just a beginner, you want to start a couple seeds in your house, you don't need to go crazy with it. But, there's things out there like boiling your soil first so you don't introduce or bring in fungus or bugs and stuff into your house that may infect your plants. But I've never had an issue with that, and I never boil my soil first. But you could. It wouldn't hurt. Usually people do it when they do a lot of seed starts and they have a big operation going on, because if they get fungus and stuff introduced into into their seed starting area, then it can cause havoc on all their plants. But if you're just doing a couple trays, you don't need to do that. And once you kind of get this guy set up, the next thing we'll talk about is lighting. But I'm just gonna fill this up here. Hopefully I have enough soil. If not, I won't do all my starts here. But it's really nothing to it, you know. You just put your soil in there, and it doesn't have to be all the way to the top. I'm going to make some of these shallow because I don't have that much soil. I'm not going to do that last one there. I'm just going to do these. Alright, so I got my trays all packed in. I'm not doing this last row because I don't have enough soil set up, but got my cilantro seeds. Usually put, depending on what you're planting, you can kind of overseed it a little bit, and then thin it out, which means, you know, just pull out the ones that you don't want as they pop up. So I'll just kind of overseed it. It's probably a little too much, but that's fine. I'm going to do 2 rows of cilantro. I'm not going to label my trays because I know what cilantro looks like and I know what leeks looks like, but if you're not sure what seedlings look like, you can always create little labels and put them down. So there it is. The cilantro's in there. And then you just take a little dirt, sprinkle it on top. And again, I just do like 1/4 inch. It doesn't have to be exact. Just enough to cover them a little bit. And you can always read the back of the seed packet. It tells you how deep they're supposed to be, but it's probably more than enough for cilantro. Alright, now I'll do the leeks. Okay, here's the leek seeds. I'm just going to sprinkle these in. See if I can do this with one hand. I can't. Okay, the leeks are sprinkled in. You can see them there. So there it is. And I'm intentionally doing this like the most crude, simplest way possible so you can see how easy it is. It's not complicated. So I'm going to sprinkle some soil on top of those and then we'll water it in. All right, everything's packed in. Now I'm just going to water it. I water it from top on the very first time. I just give it a little bit of water. And then after that, you just want to keep the soil moist consistently. So water it like, you know, once every other day or so. If you see the soil starting to dry out, give it a water. But after this watering, I don't water it from the top anymore. I water it from the bottom, and it'll wake up. Because once they get settled, you don't want to disturb the seeds as much as possible. I mean, if you water it from the top, not a big deal. But I find it easier and fastest to just water it from the bottom like that. So I'll pour some water in there, and then the soil will kind of soak it up. Then you want to put it in a window that has plenty of sun. So we'll take it over here. This is where I have a south-facing window, and I put them here, and they do fine. You see a lot of people saying that it's difficult to get them to germinate just with normal window light, and you can get a grow light. You don't have to get an expensive one. You can actually just get a cheap shop light. They're like $15. As long as they have a Kelvin of 6,000 and a lumens of around 5,000, somewhere around that range, you'll do fine with just a simple shop light. So if you wanted to get a light or you don't have a nice sunny window, get a light. Place it about 6 inches to 12 inches above your seed starting tray, and they'll germinate. And then you want to let them germinate until they're, you got the first or second set of leaves, and then as long as it's warm enough to plant them outside, then you transplant them outside where you want them. If it's still not warm enough or you start your seeds too early, you can leave them inside. They'll just get a little leggy, won't be as healthy, but they'll definitely die if you take them out too early. So if it's too cold outside, better off taking your chances leaving them inside and taking them out when it's time. And that's it. And that's how easy it is. So in a couple weeks, we'll have cilantro and leeks popping up. It's that simple. Here's some ones I started a couple weeks ago. Some poblano peppers, habanero peppers. Peppers usually take a bit longer to germinate than other vegetables, but another reason why they're taking a little longer is because I don't have a heat map. So peppers like it at 80 degrees, and so they'll start real slow if you don't have that heat map, but they'll still germinate, and you'll be fine. You can see I got a watermelon here that's popping up already. Over here I planted some apricot seeds. So they're starting to come up, and then down here I got a bunch of onions going, which are about ready to be transplanted outside. This is kind of it's just a dinner tray, and you fill it up with your soil and sprinkle your onions around, and then put one underneath, poke some holes in the top dinner tray and the bottom, put another dinner tray at the bottom as a secondary containment for your water, and then when you're ready to transplant, you just separate these plants individually and plant them individually wherever you want to put them. So it's kind of a cool trick for germinating onions. But that's it.